And this is session 21 of Ultraviolet Grasslands with all our usual folks. Um, Great. Last time we left off in the biomancy lab dungeon. We
We take the crawl part of dungeon crawl real seriously,
super
right?
crawly.
Yeah, we
Um,
go real slow.
got down to the grim cannibal hamster lair, scared one of them off, and found a room full of crates of stuff. In one was a concrete looking maintenance body that Adoron hooked into via Phaedred, which was a lot of fun, weird stuff. Um, Early on fought off an armadillo attack. Got some new skills and spells and stuff, trading with bushy bikers and redland vampire herbalists. Um, and yeah, I think that's where we left off in the dungeon. Anything else y'all remember or want to make note of?
Like I said, I do have a quick
Yeah,
thing that I want to go into.
cool.
So when Phaedred, okay, for context, Adoran's starting like cause or whatever was that they were damaged in a Vomish attack,
Mhm.
presumably in the Porcelain Citadel area. And I didn't really try to go too far into that initially. And then at some point it was mentioned that I have memory crystals. And so here's what I'm proposing. So Phaedred, you with your
Yes.
wizardly expertise in a variety of both fantascience and
And
electromechanical things,
I was going to say Fantascience and Magitech.
and Magitech, yes. So when I opened my case, my panel, and you were like working on removing my core, along the side or below the core, you would have seen slots for power crystals. And so my question for you is, what were the signs, not power crystals, memory crystals, sorry. So what were the signs that the memory crystals were removed in haste and or without care?
Hmm.
Hmm. Signs that the memory crystals were removed in haste and without care. Um, I'm thinking there's probably like little. I'm, I'm thinking there were like little sockets, and there were. I mean, I want to make it weirder than like actual like memory modules in a computer,
Right.
but I think there were little sockets that have like almost like organo mechanical like wires, but they're almost like fingers or tendrils that that kind of like go around each one, and that's how the memory crystals interface with your soul core. Um, I'm thinking that, and you say, and I think there were slot, and we've established that your character has missing memories. Um, I think one of the memory crystals, I think it was clear that someone just like pulled them out too quickly. And I think in a couple of the sockets, there's clearly, there should be like, you know, there should be like, an even number of like, 26 of these tendrils that connect to each one. One of them, one of the crystals, there's clearly two or three of the tendrils that are missing. They're like, kind of pulled out, and there's one that's starting to regrow, but it hasn't gone all the way yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think another one of the crystals that's like in there is cracked.
Oh, that's interesting. So the reason I did this is because I realized that I hadn't really explored how, like what happened exactly with Adoron's memories,
Mm.
just that, there was a Vomish attack and Adoron, suffered memory loss. But it occurred to me that it's possible that somebody intentionally stole the data from my memory crystals.
Mm.
And I just offered that to you as an
Love it.
offering, storyteller.
Alrighty.
Love it.
I have a
I
good.
think that's the main one I can remember. I think there was something else I had in mind, but I don't remember what it was.
All right. Yeah, I can work with all that. That's great.
I just thought of what it was.
That actually
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. So,
Okay. Yeah. And then the other thing, and this would have happened before we most recently visited the mole rats, is we would have, at least Adoron would have checked in on our base, which our base is not very functional just because it's hard to keep it safe. But at some point, Adoron had loaned the little fern creatures their green brick,
huh.
and Adoron would have walked back and stared at the brick longingly,
Mhm.
and then had the thought that, oh, this is what they mean when they say becoming an adult. It is very sad. And just walked away without their brick because Adoron has decided that the fern people love the brick so much that Adoron just can't take it away from them. So
Aw.
Adoron is going to give up their green brick, which is very sad. That's the one possession Adoron held on to through all of the times when people were. Adoron's like, oh, of course, here, have this, but not the green brick.
Not my brick. Cool. That's all awesome. I love it.
Love it.
Great. So last we left off in the in that little storage room in the hamster lair. There was the door you came in that kind of had like the like pre-biomantic lab stuff in it. There's a door that you didn't go out. That the rat was chased, or the gerbil champster
Was
chased out.
was there anything else of value in the other crates, or was
Not really. It was pretty picked
the
over.
body? Okay.
Yeah.
So that body was, so the replacement utility body was really the only thing of interest. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think the other ones were kind of like easily opened up by the hamsters, and this one was like more latched and secured a little bit more. I think that's the only reason there was stuff in there.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
I can't remember. Did we determine that body thing, like, is that worth taking for?
Yes.
I was
100%.
I was
But
thinking
I don't want to. Maybe
okay.
I would suggest that we seal it back up, and then when we actually leave the dungeon,
Back in
we
the
come
crate,
back.
yeah.
We come back here and take the whole crate.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking that if he's up or not, I just want to make him a beast of burden or anything. But Otokar being
Oh
the
yeah,
biggest and strongest of us all, maybe it could be like either now or on our way back out. We could be like, hey man, can you take that to
yeah.
the
Probably on the way back out.
caravan? I mean, he's part of the caravan, so it's not like us making him do our work. It's to his benefit as well.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely like a full sack of stuff to
Yeah.
manage.
Sack of body.
Sack of-
Adoron will in the future help work with Phaedred. Oh, I was also thinking, Phaedred, this is an opportunity for the two of us to practice some skills together
Mm.
because Adoron will have to
Mhm.
learn this new body, and Adoron can help teach you the skills related to understanding and maintaining and repairing this kind of golem.
Love
Um,
it.
The other thing is that Adoron wants to know, because Adoron can read the specs, is this body resistant to things like radiation and poison?
It is a pretty cheap one, and a
Okay.
pretty older model. So it's there may be claims, but it's unlikely to actually be. It's like a water resistant iPhone 4. Yes.
I feel like based on our discussions last week that this body is basically slightly better than death.
This is a low
It's
car for
not.
your soul.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that uh, Adoron turns to Phaedred and says it matches uh, the 12 council specifications for water resistance and radiation resistance. And Phaedred would say something about, advertising.
I'll bet it can't be tickled.
Probably
Probably
not.
not.
Yeah, tickle resistant for
That's
sure.
almost a guarantee, yes.
So, maybe if in life you were really bothered by people tickling you.
That's a very specific need
It
you're talking
is.
about there.
But that's something I've learned from Phaedred is in advertising, you got to find those niches.
Exactly.
Great. So, what are we doing next?
So I think we should press on. There was another door on the other side of this
Yeah.
storeroom.
Or hallway, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was an open door. Yeah, it was an open doorway which led into a hall.
This week we should be the opposite of ourselves and just rush headlong into every room.
Kicking doors and murder orcs.
Let's just start running through the dungeon. at
It's a
full
monster!
pace.
Kill it!
No.
Stop talking to my XP.
There you go.
But yeah, there's really only one. I mean, there's only that one door forward, pretty much, right?
For now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go through that. Yeah, let's go through the door on the other side and
Carefully, since we know the mole
Yeah.
rat went
Mhm.
that away.
Yep.
I mean, not mole rat, gerbil thing.
The gerbil, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. What is through there? That's a great question. I drew something somewhere.
Money, happiness.
Mhm. Fulfillment.
Mhm.
Let's see.
ancient secrets, ancient secrets from the long, long ago.
Yes. The next
thought
room is where we spend eternity because it's basically utopia.
Ancient secrets of the ancients.
Yeah. So Mike, I thought you were saying agency instead of ancient. And
Ancient?
I was thinking like an ad agency, and these are their secrets for success.
Yes.
That would be cool too.
The first secret
I
is
have to say
find
that
your
I did
niche.
work at an ad agency. Yeah, I worked at an ad agency for a year as a programmer, so they're interesting.
Like a guy I work close. I'm in IT and I write documentation, but I then give it to our communications team to polish it up and make it better for our end users. And the guy I generally work with in our communications team came from advertising.
Oh,
He's about my age, and he said that when he first got out of college, he went to when he got out of college and he majored in marketing. He worked in New York City on Madison Avenue,
wow.
and he was this is like in the late 80s, early 90s, and he was working directly for like a 1960s ad guy. Like imagine basically he's like imagine Don Draper imagine Don Draper in the 80s.
Mhm.
So like a 20-year, so like Don Draper in his early 60s.
Yep.
That's who I was working with.
Little North Goblin ad man in the early 90s.
Complete with he would every day he would take a 2-hour lunch and he would come back completely sloshed.
Yep.
Completely sloshed.
Yeah, I've been on those lunches. Our agency had the Heineken account in the early 90s, and every month everyone was gifted 2 free cases of beer directly to their office. So that's how that office was.
I would like to tell a sad story. So the agency that I worked for is called VML in Kansas City, and there is a local microbrewery, pretty big microbrewery that has really good beer, and it used to be on tap because the agency handled advertising for the local microbrewery.
Mm.
And then they got the Coors contract. And the thing is, it wasn't just that it was on tap, not in my building, but in the main building. You could go in at any time of the day and get microbrewery beer for free, whatever. And I'm not a beer drinker, so I didn't really partake. But and they also had like a lot of meetups there, and people would be like, "Oh, let's go to the meetup for the beer," and then they replaced it all with Coors.
Yeah,
all gone.
Super
terrible.
I'm not a drinker either, so it's kind of a bummer anytime I'm somewhere it's like perks, some free alcohol. I'm like,
yeah, can I have some?
It's not a
Yeah.
perk for me.
It's dead. Yeah, same. Great. So you're going through that hallway cautiously where the mole rat was in, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, are we going to change our order, or are we going to stick with the same order?
I mean, I'm still good going up front with the radiation gun.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
why
Right.
I'll
not?
go in the middle.
Unless,
I'll
I
go
don't
in.
know, I kind of wonder, what makes more sense, me or Otokar up front?
Mm. I mean, Otokar's happy to go up front.
I feel like that's probably
That
makes
might
more
not be.
sense.
That might not be a bad idea.
Hmm.
Was
Let our tank go first.
especially with the hamsters around.
Yeah.
Yeah, if nothing else, they might be like, oh, big birdie thing, run.
Um, great. There is a so this is kind of like an L-shaped room, kind of the same texture as the lab before it. But it's more of like a chem lab looking thing, but only without any equipment. It's got like those like big tables with some like sinks and burners and stuff in the middle. Um, and there's a L-shaped room there. Um, and in there are a pair of those we'll just call them zombies because that's what they look like, that were in the pit there. Except they have like the comically big iron chains, iron like collars, and there's each chained to one of the like tables across there. So like I think the hamster's intention was to kind of like have you chase him through there, and get waylaid probably. They still seem pretty docile. They are not as like wall-e well fed as the other ones in the pit. They seem a little bit leaner, but they're still kind
So
of
you
like
mean, I'm sorry, do you mean like they're standing up they're not
yeah,
chained
they're just
down
like
to a
standing
table.
up. Like
Okay.
there's your hallway there. There's like two of these big like research tables
Okay.
across, with like a formica basically countertops, and each one has one of these zombies chained to it. Still pretty docile, not as well fed it looks like, I guess, as the other ones. Um,
Right.
but yeah,
So
they
Adron
look
is going
pretty
to walk up.
angry. Yeah.
Adron is going to walk up to one of the zombies
Mm.
very politely and slowly, and sort of visually check the chain link just to get an idea of risk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, assuming that the zombie doesn't like lunge forward, or even if it does, but Adron is going to offer it some cake.
Great. Let's get a reaction roll from you. Let's just do a d20 plus charisma.
Okay. 20.
Oh, and make sure to reset all y'all's hero dice.
Oh,
All right.
18
yeah.
on the
Good
dice.
call.
18, great, yeah. It it sniffs at the cake, um, gingerly takes it from you, and like doesn't devour it, just like takes a bite, like just slowly bite by bite. It seems to be swallowing and eating it. Um, but yeah, and I think it like looks to you for like it kind of like looks you up and down, like where's more? Can I have some more?
Right. Um, Adoron will so they're chained to the chemistry tables. Adoran will place two cakes on the table and then walk over to the other zombie
Mhm.
and repeat the experiment.
Yeah, same thing happens over there. They are very happy to partake of those cakes.
Now, can we move past them, or
Now
is
you
this
can, yeah, for sure. They are
okay?
very occupied with their new little treats.
Yeah,
Let
Adoran will
us.
just walk past.
If we walk past, I'll leave them a little side of beans as well.
Nice, good job.
The door on the far side of the
I,
L here is
and
closed, however.
and,
Uh,
as Phaedred walks by them, he nods curtly at them.
good day, sir. The door on the other side is just a regular steel door. It doesn't have like the view screen, the viewport like the other one does. It looks more just like a like an internal door. Um, and I think it's like it, not even a check required. Like you do hear um scuffling and like squeaking. Like you can tell there are multiple hamsters in there who are um, not being super quiet and maybe are a little excited.
Hmm.
We do note that these hamsters are dangerous.
Right. Uh,
Only they are sentient, but kind of only just barely.
um, huh. How good are the seals on this door?
Um, it's not really super sealed, just like a regular door jam.
Is it? Hmm, I wonder.
So it doesn't look like it's locked or has like an like a Magitech
Bad
like
or yeah,
passcode that we need to bypass.
yeah. And in fact, it looks like there's not even a lock on the door itself. Like it's just a handle you can put.
Okay. You just
Right.
turn the handle and swing the door open.
Yeah,
I'm guessing like for reaction rolls with like a beast like that, like my pleasant doesn't really come into play, right? You kind of got to be sentient to know
yeah,
somebody's
and like
pleasant.
yeah, that's Pleasant's more of a social
Yeah.
social deal.
I mean, technically they are slightly social, but not quite.
True.
Their goals are different from ours.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it would make any difference for like if we had to make a reaction roll, if that would come in, if I could use my
That's a
pleasant.
charming conversation and easy demeanor. Like I
Yeah,
think it would have helped on the zombies, but maybe not on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
sort of
wondering if maybe
waiting
as
to hear the
like
screams in this room so they can come and come and get
eh, if maybe like as a maybe we still let Otokar take point, but I'm wondering if maybe he like if he swings the door open and immediately like throws in some beans. So it's almost like just immediate offering of like, hey, here's some food. We're cool.
you.
I do not believe that they will be interested in beans. They seem to
No.
be very prone towards meat and even old meat. But I wonder if there is a way for us to discourage them from habitating the space beyond, waiting to make us meals. Is
Could
it possible that we have some way of discouraging them from being in the room through smell?
Or yes, may well again, Otokar's a bear. So you could probably smell him if anybody. What if he stands right next to the door and roars as loudly and fiercely as he can?
It depends on whether or not they will take that as a challenge to their dominance. This is a standard protocol question. Are the people that you're dealing with invested in their own personal dominance, or are they interested in some other um, accomplishment within the negotiation?
It feels like, I guess it's all speculation, of course, but just judging from their behavior thus far, like the way they've tried to like sort of lead us into traps and other things like that, that they don't strike me as necessarily the most outwardly like, I will mess you up directly. More like, let me see if I can get them to get messed up enough that we can then just like eat them.
Although, if you recall our previous conversation with the one that was in this room or in the other room, they were quite certain that they were a dominant predator until several of us showed up, in which case they decided that they were only one dominant predator instead of four.
I could also, if there are a number of them in there, do have a new I do have a new spell that I could attempt to use on them. Um, especially, and I turn to Otokar, especially with your assistance, my hirsute friend. Um, um, I could attempt to imbue them. I could attempt to influence them, like imbue them with an emotion, and the emotion I would like to imbue, and the one that I was thinking would perhaps work well, would be fear and make them run away.
Mhm.
I mean, definitely, I'm open to anything, but I feel like the fierce roar is probably a good first try. And then
Except
Sure,
if
save our
they
magical
can,
res
but
save.
actually the two synergize very well.
that's true.
True.
So it's a matter of if you want to just go ahead and blow the spell regardless, or
I'm tempted to use that anyway. Well, let's first see how many are in there. If it's just two or three of them, perhaps
But
they'll
we
run
may
away.
not,
They'll run away anyway. They may retreat anyway by see if we immediately outnumber them.
And I think like you mentioned Otokar's sense of smell, maybe, and like I think it's Otokar will let you know that there are more than a few in there, more than a couple in there.
mm,
Okay.
And in fact,
it's like a nest.
I it smells like there's more coming from somewhere else too, but I'm not sure exactly where. There's the ones in the next room, but I smell more of them here.
Are
it could
they
be that
coming
we
from
have walked into a trap.
Are they coming from behind us?
I think when you ask that, you see that in fact there are some that kind of like creep, like you're using flashlights and stuff, so it's pretty dark in here. But you see them. You see at least two or three creeping around between the tables from whence you came around the corner.
Interesting. And we're not aware of anywhere they could have come from, though, right?
The room we
Well,
came from
the way
could have
we
come
came.
around.
Yeah, the way you came.
But but it's all been one direction so far. So
It's been kind of
Well,
like a like that.
we I mean there like before then we had some choices to go left or right. So they
mm,
could have come down from the way that we didn't go
Mhm.
Yes.
and then started tracing our steps.
mm.
I do believe they plan on making us lunch.
Yes,
Not in
And
a
not
and
in
not in the good way.
not in a nice way. That makes us lunch.
But you've got a moment to do something before they get close enough
Um,
to do whatever they're going to do.
got it. Um,
Phaedred, how wide does the area of your spell cover?
um, I can affect quite a few. I can affect quite a few. It's oh.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
I just looked at I was looking at the wrong I was looking at the wrong range. Oh, this is a touch spell. I have to touch them.
Oh,
It's
I
such
was
like
thinking
you can overcharge it to affect a number of creatures equal to twice your level as well.
that's what I was thinking, but I mean, does that mean like they have to be really close to me or do I have to touch them all?
I feel like you would have to touch them, but I mean that's possible, but it might require some checks to see if you get tagged on the way of doing it.
Got it. Could I
Uh,
double
are
overcharge?
are there
Give it range?
are
Ooh,
there
No,
some
not a power one spell.
right? Are there grates above the bench, the tables like there were in
oh
the
yeah,
other
like the
room?
hoods. Yeah, let's say there are. Yeah,
So why don't we disassemble one of those and see if we can hoist everyone up into there?
I'm not sure there's enough
I
time.
don't I don't think
Okay,
there's going to
well,
have enough time if they're already in the room with us and
well,
they're
that's true.
creeping up close.
Okay.
I feel like
Um,
it's either a roar or shoot situation at
Yeah, I
the
think so
moment.
too.
You
right.
know what, Phaedred, I will say that if you want to double overcharge, there could be a chance that you haven't used this spell yet. You don't know what it can do. Um, I think there will be a risk if you want to do that though.
I'm
I
thinking if I
propose, good.
go on.
No, you
What
do.
do you propose?
I propose that we open the door and let them all in so that they all can be afraid of Otokar.
I'm up with that. And
Um,
you know, if need be, I will try to use my magic and like we'll see what happens if I double overcharge it to get a bunch of them.
Is there like is there a way? Is there a place like can we gather in such a way that if Otokar throws a door open, is there a way to get them all into the room where we're all gathered together, and basically a radiation gun might be able to hit a bunch
Right.
of them
As a
if we need to
backup.
go that
You,
route.
you you
I
can
mean,
get
yeah,
them all in. They'll be on either side of you though, so there'll be like
the
some coming from the room and some coming from behind.
the
Okay,
other spell I was thinking of, you said there's three of them that were creeping up on us.
Three that you can see. Yes.
Three that we can see. Well, they clearly have ill intent. So the other thing I could do would be to blast them with tragic missile.
Could do that.
That sounds like something you could use as a like next step. So I have a thought, and I'm going to toss this out to the table for ideas. Adoron can change into different things, and typically has not changed into anything like that appears to be just like a table or a chair or something. But Adoron could conceivably change into some other form, and instead of at least initially participating in fighting, Adoron could form some sort of barrier in between them and the group. I can turn myself into a small fence, maybe in front of our party, and they won't necessarily attack. I mean, they'll probably try and tear me down, but they won't. I don't know. Do you think that's worth?
Just to, like let's set the scene a little bit more. So this room is probably, I don't know, 15 feet across or so, and there's
Okay.
rows of two of these benches across. These benches are probably like 6 feet across each.
Okay.
So it's like the hallway is, or the room is kind of like shaped like that, and you've got these rows of two benches, two tables, door over here, and then door back where you came from.
Right.
They're chained like around the corner.
So in one of the corners, I'm just trying to think of what shape Adoron is a little outside their normal shape changing approach, but oh, I know. I have a good one. Okay. Adoron will lie down on the floor, and Adoron will become a wall like of vipers, little like smaller vipers, just all sort of snapping out. So it's sort of like wall of viper spell.
Nice.
No
I love it.
poison, but they don't know that.
That's kind of like
You need to back it up a little bit because what's
I like
happening?
that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Um, Now can we get into the corner of the L, or is that they've already crept up to there?
I think that's about where they are. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, Adoron will turn into a wall of snakes, and the rest of you do what you do.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and do I think it's be charisma plus your flesh is clay.
Okay.
I think we're just looking for a 13 here, right?
Well, I have +9,
Yeah.
so I got a 14.
Pretty good odds. Yeah, great. So I think that will keep the ones from you. So you're intending to keep the ones from behind you at bay, basically, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's a viable way of approaching it.
Cool. That works. The I think as you do that, they have not seen anything like this before. They probably haven't seen regular snakes before, really, and so this is doubly troubling, triply because like you were not a wall of snakes before. When you do that, you see that there are actually about 6 of them in the room, and they are kind of they're about 3 or 4 feet tall, just like the other ones. They have like 3-fingered hands and toes. They're caked with filth and probably blood or whatever it is. They do not have cute little jackets, and they are not approaching the wall of snakes. They're definitely kind of like, is there a way we can get around this? But they're not going to come close, I don't think. And they're like kind of like around where the zombies are to kind of like okay, like we're gonna stay by these guys.
Gotcha.
Got
So
it.
they're using the zombies as muscle.
Yeah, and kind of squeaking angrily.
My wall of snakes will hiss back at them.
Yeah.
Nice. I turned to Modan and Otokar and said, "Shall we try Operation Bear Scare?"
I think it's worth a shot before we start. Yes, yes.
So open the door. So I guess the plan is open the door. Otokar is going to just go.
Well, at this point, should we not even open the door? Should we worry about like seeing if? Well, we could just have him roar. That may scare the ones on the other side of the door, regardless. At this point, it doesn't seem any reason to like open the door unless we need to like attack them or something.
Well,
Don't you
the
think?
idea was to get as many of them into the range of the scare spell as possible,
Mm.
I think.
I mean, I was going to see if just like Otokar trying to scare him off would just do that without having to bring magic into play, and if it wasn't, then
Yeah.
then
Well,
I would then I would bring it into play.
right. I mean, Otokar can attempt to scare the ones like on the other side of the wall of snakes.
Yeah,
And
it just
That's
feels
true.
like since Mark said like if we open that door, we will definitely
Yeah,
have
that's
them
true. That will
on
have
two
that's
sides
true.
of us,
I
which
mean, they
seems
could
like
open
a
the door. I
bad
mean,
idea.
they could open the door.
They could also open the
They
door.
could open the door at any time.
Yeah.
We haven't barred the door.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
waiting for you. Yeah.
Yeah. But if
yeah, maybe. Okay, I like that. I like the idea. Let's see if Otokar can scare these six away, and
Yeah.
if not, I will
At least we'll know
attempt
how they
to.
react to it,
Yeah,
at
and
least.
if not, I will attempt to scare them away with magic.
Great.
And if not, I will radiation blast.
Great. Otokar's level 4, right?
That's what I think you've said in the
Yeah,
past.
there
Yeah.
it is. Level 4. Level 4 bear.
Rar.
Where he been? Level 4 bear. Great. Roll me a D10 plus 4 then.
I'll roll that since I've
Go for it.
thought about taking him as a friend before, but I never officially done it. D10.
16.
What's that?
Looking for a 16.
D10 or D20?
D20, sorry.
Oh, okay. D20. Does he get any pluses or tiddies?
That's
Four.
the plus 4 because he's 4th level.
Oh, just plus 4. Okay. Well, how about that's a 15
15. That is
with a hero die.
You want to throw a hero die in there?
I'll throw a hero die in there.
Great. That'll definitely take it up. Yeah, they are they are cowed, and they retreat back around the corner, out of sight. You hear them scamper, like knocking over. No, there's probably stools or something over there. Whatever equipment was left up there. You hear them scampering away. And actually, can you roll again for me? Looking for like 16 plus 3.
Do you want to actually roll that hero die that you spent to see how high it was?
I mean, sure, why not?
I just want to see if the ones behind the door are also scared. No,
Oh, okay, got it.
probably.
Oh, so you want
Yeah.
a new roll, a new D20 roll?
Oh, D20 plus 4, yeah.
Oh, okay. Another
Yeah.
D20 plus 4. Got it.
Okay. 20 plus 4.
Yeah.
Do it. Exploding. Try exploding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, let's explode it.
That's
Lame explosion, but
So
whatever.
it's still
Great.
a 27.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Otokar like rears back and roars, and like it goes on for a little bit longer than you thought it was going to. I think you all are actually a little bit
Should we make fear saving throws?
like you know he's friendly, but you know that you do not want him on you don't want him on his bad side, for sure. And then he kind of like goes like that. He's like that.
That was great. That was
Awesome.
great. Like I was scared of you for a moment, and I know you're my friend.
Yeah. Those hamsters are definitely gone from back there. I think the ones on the other side of the door, like he gives a big sniff, and yeah, they are also super gone.
Got it. Well, let's open the door and verify. Open the door,
That's fun.
shine
Yep.
the light in.
It is empty. It's a square-ish room, like 15-ish by 15. Seems to be more like when it was active, like more of not necessarily an office, but like a more administrative area. There's kind of like metal desks. There's a lot of more organic looking trash that might include like old, ripped up shredded paper and stuff. Um, uh, they are probably not as fastidious as the eloquent mole rats, but it appears this may also be where they decided to leave some waste as well. But yeah, but there's a door on the south side of this that's like swinging as if someone made a hasty retreat.
A hasty retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the if it looks like there's nothing really in this room but detritus, I suggest we continue. I suggest we follow the. I suggest that we follow the creatures that we have just scared away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. So this is a hallway, and it leads to another lab that looks kind of like the first lab that you were in. Um, and you can like just from general directional sense, you can tell that this is probably like in parallel with the other one, and you're going the other direction. Um,
Okay.
like it's kind of this shape, kind of that shape.
Okay.
There.
Got it.
They definitely like looped around and came back, tried to surround you. You
Hey,
don't
can I ask?
kind of them in
Can I
there at all.
can I ask an out of character question, Mark? And that is, did you find this map or did you draw this map? I'm just
Drew this
curious.
map. Drew this map. Yeah, this was a dungeon generated.
He found it in your brain.
Oh, yeah. I have cryptic notes from last time that I do not understand.
That is the way
That's
of
what
the game
that's what the
master.
tables are for, my friend.
There's definitely
That's what the
something in
tables
there.
are for.
But yeah, the equipment there looks of similar vintage and quality. There's the door you came in, they have the two doors are similar as well, and they have the hoods and stuff. It just seems like a secondary lab of the first kind.
Got it. Again, I think Phaedred's just going to do a cursory look around here to see if there's anything of interest or value.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the equipment itself, you could probably pry it out and get a couple sacks worth of stuff. Same.
So
Okay.
I know that you had done some things by interacting with the console before and such. Like, is there no we can't like turn the lights on
Turn
in
all the
this
lights on?
place?
You could, sure, yeah.
I am gonna yeah, I'm gonna try to yeah, I'm going to try to interface with the neospheric
Yeah.
interface.
I don't think that's
And
even wrong. I think that's you
I'm
did
gonna
it before and you like, oh yeah, there was a light switch, I just didn't use it.
yeah, I want to put the lights on in the place.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Yeah, you
more of
can
this
turn lights
flashlight
on
bullshit.
in the whole place, in fact. Yep. Yeah, brightly lit. It's it's clearer to see with the lights on, but like the there's it's very kind of like it used to be sterile looking, like ruined the sterile aesthetic.
And now can you electrify all the walls and floors except for the room we're in?
Yeah.
Less so.
Adoron looks for some sort of communication panel or something,
Mm-hmm.
i.e. a computer panel or some sort of thing.
I think that's just part of whatever whatever Phaedron's plugged into.
Okay. So while Phaedred is plugged in, Adoron's going to see if they can bring up some basic like interface. Because
Mm-hmm.
Adoron is not unaware of technology.
Yeah.
Partly because of where Adoron was created, but also even though Adoron doesn't remember exactly what they were doing, they were working for somebody who had money in the porcelain citadel, and so they have experience with basic technology. Not that they're a technician or anything.
Yeah.
And just poke around, see what they can find.
Let's get a thought roll from you.
Okay.
I don't think there's any skills necessarily.
Probably not any that I have.
If you, I will give you the option to add on your rebuilder skill if you want, but that will color your results.
Yeah, let's go with that. So
Yeah.
that would be
All right.
+3 along with my +4 for thought. Is that correct?
Yeah, so plus
Yes.
7 altogether.
Yeah. Let's see what we get. Oh, 20.
Wow. Okay.
26.
Woo,
The
26.
rebuilder comes through.
Yeah. How much is left on that clock? Yeah. Great. So tell me, like, are you looking for anything in particular? Or are you hoping to find anything in particular?
Actually, yes. So on the one hand, Adoron is just, poking around. But on the other hand, Adoron understands that this is a um, biomantic lab,
Hmm.
and, and Adoron and Modon are studying like the basics of very low level biomancy in different ways. And also, it's possible Phaedred would have some interest in like learning some like details of biomancy. So Adoron is looking for things that might help them. Also, Adoron specifically is wondering if this lab could be useful in the future
Mm.
if we were to set up an operation here.
Ooh,
For
interesting.
instance, is this a good place to grow, alternative beans? We have a whole laboratory, set of laboratories. All we need to do is like gently encourage the hamsters to move to a new home, and we would have our own, old tech, ancient tech, whatever it is, probably old tech, um, biomantic facility.
Yeah.
with some lovely mole rat friends nearby.
Exactly, mole rat friends,
Exactly.
even better.
Um, Great. I mean, it would take a lot of work to get it back in shape to get it up and running.
Yeah.
But the infrastructure is there, so you wouldn't be starting from scratch at least. But it would definitely take an investment of time and resources to
Okay.
get it anywhere near useful again. Um, hmm. So I think plugging in here has kind of I think you get um tell me what you're interfacing with this like control panel looks like. Are you just like trying to do beep boops or are you somehow?
So Adoron can certainly use fingers, but Adoron can also extrude a finger and use nanites to make contacts
Hmm.
and create sort of the universal bus connector or whatever.
Yep. I think when you do that, you realize the system is wired in through the entire complex, which is um, fairly extensive. I think you get the sense that it is, this is about um let's see, one, two, three, four. Like there's probably another 3 or 4 levels that look like this further down, in addition to the one above. And I think you also get the sense that there was some way to communicate with the outside world at some point, some kind of like communications array that on whatever like used to have a roof that doesn't anymore. But the entire system, like it's almost like hearing like a wave coming. Like you hear this kind of like you feel this like something kind of rolling in at you, um, and before you're able to decide whether or not even you should take some sort of action about it, um, your vision shifts, and it seems like you are floating hundreds of feet above the grasslands. You are in extreme anguish, and just screaming, um, and you feel um, like souls being like swirling around you and being fed into you, basically. You just feel this power. Um, and yeah, this is clearly like you are directly plugged in to the rebuilder now, on top of the ignored tower. And there's like a moment of peace when it feels like it recognizes that the connection has been completed. Um, how do you react to that?
So Adoron is going to, and this actually relates to what I was going to do with my signature item. Adoron has decided that the ancient teacup that self-heats, plus whatever teacups that Adoron makes out of crystal through their own process.
Mhm.
So Adoron is going to start making their own sort of Zen tea set, along with the idea that they will sometimes give away teacups to people. Like with the mole rats, Adoron has made will make little tiny teacups for the mole
Right.
rats. And but Adoron has realized that Adoron themselves, especially in like a hospitality setting where we can be hospitable to people and help take care of their needs, Adoron can become their own noosphere node.
Mhm.
They can become the gate you want to see. Um, and so Adoron is going to basically, within the consciousness of the rebuilder, Adoron is going to form uh, this image. It's not really an image, of course, but we'll basically sit down and start serving tea
Mhm.
to the consciousness of the rebuilder.
I'm gonna need a charisma roll, plus your I mean, I guess plus protocol specialists, right? Unless there's something else you want to use.
Let me look at that really fast.
Um,
Um, uh,
yeah, I don't think Flesh is Clay is gonna go there.
no, no, no. I mean, everything else would be the same anyway.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, +3.
And I'm looking for an 18 here.
Ooh, no, this will take a lot of hero dice.
Oh no.
Whew, I mean, that's an
What do
8.
you what?
The 8, all I need is 10 more. Okay,
Hey,
so
we got a lot of hero dice between us.
You do,
I'll
you
uh
do.
that's true. Yeah.
I'll 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 give you a hero die.
I will make one comment before you do that, Phaedred.
Sure.
You tentatively you will be touching on the soul of the rebuilder, and you are a mage.
True.
Okay,
I mean, I'm seeing my friend in trouble here.
okay. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I'll throw one in as well, figuring that you know,
So
I think
here's
all I can
Phaedred's
do
hero
is
die.
yeah.
Oh boy, I added a whopping 1 to that, so we're up to a 9.
Oh boy,
It's
let's
the
see
thought that
here.
counts. It also might be one. It might be the most important one.
Hey, I had a
Ooh,
5.
yeah. So that's
Hey,
so we have 8
14.
plus 14. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that's not too
4
far.
more.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I think you like when Adoron's doing that, you see the visible like combination distress slash peacefulness there. And I think you have not seen Adoron's clay flesh kind of go a bit rigid and then like kind of like spiking out a little bit and in pulses as that's happening, like clearly in distress. Um,
Got it.
what's your help there with those two look like?
I figure for me, it's just seeing that he's in stress and knowing that we all kind of have a bond or whatever. I think all I can do is I think I'm just basically talking to him, be like, "Hey, Adoron, it's
Mhm.
Modan. We're right here with you. Are you okay? What's happening in there? We're
And I
here."
think and I think Phaedred is trying to figure out like what system Adoron plugged into that's causing this.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's like attempting to operate the equipment to, tune out or phase in or restore, like, like reattune the,
Mhm.
you know, you know, reattune the psycho resilient interface loop.
Yep, yep.
And so do we still need more to get
Well,
whatever the
and
result we're looking
Adoran
for?
is going to add some hero dice too. I mean, it's only fair. Um, so
We need 4.
hmm
yeah,
And I could do it.
yeah, and I can very
One
easily.
one die could do it.
Right. So I'll roll a hero dice. Oops, not that one. D4. Oh, or D6, not D4.
D6.
Yep. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
we're at
Yay!
it.
There we go.
Okay. So what Adoron has done to adjust is Adoron is just because Adoron has shape with clay, Adoron is used to flowing with different identities and stuff. So Adoron is just going to comfortably embrace the chaos of the rebuilder and just move with the chaos, but maintaining that calm and peace.
Hmm. Um, great. I think
I
kind
think
of
I was also waving some beans under his nose while I was talking to
Beans.
him.
um
Remind you of anybody?
the like noospheric maelstrom basically around you starts to calm, and it's not a visual, but you get the feeling of like you get the familiar feeling of like sitting down with someone on a nice day having
Yeah.
um again, like you don't see the visual, but you can tell like you are in the presence of someone of a very powerful personality.
Hmm.
And I think the outer of Adoron smooths out, um, and she, like, again, not visual, but you can tell that she is like looking at you, right? And I think you can also tell that the screaming has stopped for the moment. And she, regards you and just says, "Why have you done this?"
Because you were in pain.
And you don't wish to exploit me like the others.
What is exploit?
Use my power to for fuel,
No. I was concerned that as a being you were suffering.
and you've come to end it somehow, to free the others from the death that I create around me.
No, I don't believe that I can end it. I was merely attempting to give you some ease.
There can be no ease unless I am completed again. The only thing keeping me alive is the endless torrent of souls being streamed into me by the death that I cause around me.
You are saying that you are broken,
Yes,
and you are saying that something needs to happen for you to be fixed.
my body and my soul returned, but it's impossible, I'm sure.
It has been my experience that things that were impossible are often now possible, and things that were possible are often now impossible.
So, what do you propose? Did you find the shapeshifter that stole my body? The lizard that took my soul?
Are those two separate people?
Yes, if you can call them people.
I mean, I think that many things are people. I have a friend Toad who is a people.
Hmm.
If I could help you by finding these people of questionable decision-making capabilities, would that be of interest?
That is my fondest hope. But in the millennia I've been here, no one has even considered doing that.
Well,
And you can
if
feel
you
kind of
feel,
like the swelling start to rise again.
yeah, if you feel like it, If you will give me the guidance necessary to find these people, I will seek to negotiate with them.
Mm. I think again in a non-visual, physical way, you can feel her like reaching across this, vast tea table that you're sitting on, and kind of like press her finger to your forehead, which is not there. And you get the images of these two things burned in your mind. Um, a thing with 1,000 faces, and some like giant astral lizard thing. Um, and she just says, "Go then." And
May I
it's oh, go ahead. You go first.
may I ask, these beings seem to be peers of yours. Is that true?
No, I have no peers.
Hmm. Very well. I am fairly certain that they are not peers of mine either.
Um,
Well,
yeah, and then I think that's when the screaming, like she was holding it back as long as she could, and
yeah,
it wells up, and the scream happens. I think you are ejected.
okay.
He's back.
Yeah,
Phaedred, are you okay? What happened? Phaedred. Adoron, are you okay? What happened?
yeah, yeah,
I was looking at my character's name on the
yeah.
screen.
Um, well, I have had a discussion with somebody who is feeling not well.
Hmm.
She is the person who lives at the top of the, what is it called again?
The ignored tower. That's the facing the death facing passage.
Yes, at the top of the ignored tower. She is not well. It appears that some others have, hmm, they have transacted with her but not given her recompense for parts of herself.
So you have spoken directly with the rebuilder.
Yes,
It's progress.
Yes.
it is. She was at peace for a moment, or
You
at
you
least
may have done
partly.
something no one else has ever done, maybe.
I was just going to say that.
What is that?
Made made peaceful contact with the made peaceful contact with the rebuilder and retained your soul.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone else has ever talked to the rebuilder.
This is a way of negotiation.
You are clearly a champion negotiator.
I am actually just a beginner. I think I was better before when I had my memories, but I don't remember.
Well, successfully negotiating with an entity of such vast power and
And vast
walking,
misery, apparently.
yeah,
Chaos.
and vast misery and chaos without becoming infected by that personality or having them simply decide that your soul seemed tasty and decided to eat
Mm.
it.
Without it obliterating your mind.
Yes. That that is a remarkable achievement, my friend. A remarkable achievement.
Hmm. Okay.
I think perhaps there's a reason that fates, if there is such a thing, have crossed your paths. Maybe you are the only one who can have a conversation and see another path no one else can see.
I think the key is being very, very, very calm.
That certainly helps.
Also, it comes to my attention that I was aware of each of your presences as I was attempting to maintain my center of balance, and I do appreciate both your concern and also your willingness to risk your lives.
Of course. We
Of
are all
course.
stronger as, while we may not technically be a polybody, we are in our own way a polybody, as we are stronger together as one than we are as four separate individuals wandering the grasslands.
Agreed. We're a company, we're a fellowship, and we're friends.
Yes, we are friends.
And I think Phaedred looks at Adoron for a long moment and said, the biomancers at the last Sarai were convinced that you were truly special. I had frankly somewhat dismissed them as fanatics. Maybe they were onto something.
Maybe both.
Yeah, I was
Little,
thinking that
little column A, little
Maybe
column
both.
B.
I was going to say, these are not mutually exclusive conclusions.
Well, back to the adventure at hand, I suppose.
Oh, and I did find out some things about the facility. There are several levels to it, and
Oh,
it could conceivably be used as a lab for bean science.
Well, this gives me an idea. I don't know how to carry out this idea, but again, maybe that's where the rest of you can come in handy. What these gerbil-like creatures seem to me basically like an infestation of nuisance. As you encounter in a house, you get an infestation of unwanted insects or other vermin, or what's the word I'm looking for? I wonder if there's something we might find or create that we could like treat the halls of this place with that would like repel the gerbils and make them not want to be here, make them seek a new nest elsewhere, something repellent to them, gerbil repellent.
I have a very interesting response to your thought. As I am actually also a creature of a lab, I do find this a slightly offensive comment because these are some of the children of the lab, just like the hamsters, the gerbils, and the wall rats are all children of the lab.
The gerbils are children of the lab
And the fern bunnies.
and the
Oh,
fruit
yeah,
bunnies.
and fern bunnies. So, in one sense, while I recognize the problem you're attempting to solve, I do think that actually this is their home. They were altered, and this is where they were altered.
Well, if
It is
that's the
true,
case, then it's not a place that we could have a home with. There's as well. It's either going to be their home or our home. They
perhaps.
they do
I
not
suppose it
seem
I suppose it could be possible to make some sort of truce with them, but they did not seem particularly amenable to negotiations.
that's just it. They don't see again, I'd love to be wrong about this, but they don't seem sentient enough to understand terms like truces or allies, or it's just like feed,
But
foreigners attack.
I think it is possible that if we could provide them with consistent food, they would then provide some protection for the lab. And the tinkers who are less than delicate in their negotiating skills are very interested, I believe, in things, for they are the ones, the gerbil tinkers are the ones who were stealing from the behemoth shell, I think. And so I think perhaps the easy way to deal with the tinkers is leave things out for them to steal.
Take, not steal.
All right. I know that's an important distinction. I'll have to like update my protocol understanding. Take is not steal.
If they're doing the taking, it's not stealing. If other people are doing the taking, then it's stealing.
That's true. I think they did say that. Um, it is definitely true that it would take it would require great effort for us to create a lab. But even if we could create a lab in a small space portion of this facility, imagine the advantages that the Fig Bean Empire would have to have a secret lab of old biomantic equipment.
Magic beans.
I mean, I certainly am a fan of the
Super
idea.
beans.
It is just a thought.
You even have a city in the clouds with a giant to go to if you want to.
That's another discussion.
Yes, it is.
So many opportunities.
Well, should we explore more, or should we?
Well, that is why we're here, I believe.
Yes, I think we should press on and continue
Phaedred,
the exploration of this complex.
Phaedred, you realize there is a system map in the system.
Is there? I will attempt to access the system map.
Yeah,
You are here.
let me get a thought roll from you.
Thought. Okay. Do I get any bonus from my funky glove thing?
That will affect the tenor of your success or failure.
Got it. Okay then. Thought roll. Let's see what we get. I rolled a 20 on the dice.
Roll that again.
Oh, yes.
I rolled a 9, so with plus my thought, that is a 31.
Yes.
31.
Found all the maps
Yes. Yeah, you do find all the maps.
and a skeleton key.
Let me fortunately I sketched this out just shortly ago. Yeah, so I think this is so you are on the I think it's labeled as the second floor, basically, or second subfloor, second floor down, a level, if you will. Um, and this is kind of like the junior lab, I guess. There's the map, the complete map of the mole rat level up top that you are already pretty well familiar with. You find some old maps of the buildings on the surface that kind of match the ruins, and those are the more like public facing ones. There are so the map of this level is kind of like we saw. It's like this end is kind of like a ring of rooms with the labs and storage and stuff. There's like the operating theater on the other end, and through there's a series of other labs with a stairway going down at the end of those. There is that goes, or I'm sorry, that's an elevator that goes down, or a shaft at least. It used to be an elevator. Below there's another more advanced level. Attached to that one are two other levels, kind of like in succession. I think just from like landmarks and spatial reasoning, you can figure out that like the second level up from that one is where the Tinker Gerbils are. There's a connection from there to the main level that you're pretty sure like that has been destroyed or sealed off. And then there is a level at the bottom below the one that's below here that is just kind of like marked like redacted. It's like a big black box which you are able to pierce with your gauntlet and tear aside like old wallpaper.
Unredacted.
Unredacted. And beneath that it is another like more advanced research facility, and it's labeled factory. I think it's labeled uplift factory, essentially. So something, and I think with a 30, this interactive map, I think you can tell it is still powered and active. There's something below that is still churning stuff out.
Okay, I relay this information to my companions. So basically, we're on this level.
Yeah, you're on. I'll draw you a sketch, but there's like you're on this level. It goes down, and then there's like two other levels attached to it, and then there's another like more secret level that below
More
that.
secret level. Got it. I would recommend
Yeah,
heading down to the secret level.
Secret levels are the best levels.
that will
My
require going
experience,
through the zombie pit and whatever is beyond it.
Ah,
in my experience, secret levels often have higher security.
so we will need to go. So is there a way for me to like download this map, or do I simply like memorize it,
Yeah, you can,
or
you can yeah, with a 30, it's downloaded into the glove. You can access you can not only access it anytime, but I think you can like create a noospheric projection of it. That's not like an actual hologram, but like anyone who's looking at it will see it in their mind.
I love it. Love it.
So like it won't show up on a camera, but like people standing there looking at it will like experience it in their brain.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Cool. What are y'all thoughts?
I think we should go to the secret level.
I believe that I need to prepare some cakes because it seems that zombies are very fond of cakes.
Why don't we why don't we take some of the more valuable equipment, some of the valuable equipment, like particularly some of the equipment from this lab and the previous lab that looks valuable but maybe isn't powered up or like isn't fully integral because we may want to use some of the equipment, but the stuff that doesn't seem like immediately vital here might be useful to take and might be useful to bring back to some place that would want to buy it
Hmm.
because we haven't been doing a lot of trading recently,
That's true. That's true.
My
and our
cons
and our company our we're not like out of money, but our company's reserves are starred. I mean, they're not low, but they're not as high as they were.
my only concern with this is, from what we have heard from the mole rats, others have come here to injudiciously acquire goods from this space. And if we suddenly appear with some new goods, people might get suspicious.
I can see that.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the grasslands are built on trading. People trade goods all the time, mechanical goods, vegetable goods. I don't think it'd be anything
Yeah.
suspicious.
And I mean, they're not using. I mean, the mole rats aren't using this equipment at this point.
Oh, they outright gave us their blessing to.
Yeah, yeah. They told us we could take what we want. They told us we could take what we found.
Is this equipment unusual, and would it be notable if we showed up in a market with it?
It is, it is like old tech, Magitech, Biomancer equipment. I think it's not dissimilar from the stuff that was in the lab you thought were in the Sarai, maybe a bit older vintage. Um, but yeah, there's lots of places to get stuff like this. If you're a plunderer in the grasslands.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I think like if a steady stream of it showed up close by, that might raise some interest. But just like having a couple sacks of old lab equipment is probably not going to raise any
okay.
eyebrows.
May I suggest then, if we do decide to take some of the equipment from here, perhaps we can not try and sell it um, nearby.
Oh no, I mean, I don't know what. I don't think it would sell for much here in Behemoth Shell. We'd want to take it someplace else. Like, hold on, player is looking at the map. We are down in Behemoth Shell.
Well, we might even be able to do some market research and find out
Yeah,
where a good place to take it would be.
that's true.
That is true.
If only we had somebody who was good at marketing.
Yeah, we found someplace that
We might find like some collector who's like, I love old world tech. Give me all your tech. Give you lots of stuff for money.
I love it.
I don't know why this guy talks like this, but he does.
I'm an old prospector.
And I'll do a little dance if we give it to him. Do, 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 do,
I found a beaker, a beaker.
do.
So do you want to try and salvage some equipment first or explore the rest of this level first?
Let's why don't we explore the rest of the level first? And
Yeah, it probably makes sense to explore probably
let's
as much
explore
as
the
we
rest of the
want to
level.
explore so we know what's there, and then we can be like, okay, well, we definitely want to take this and this and
Yeah,
this or whatever.
let's explore the rest of the level and then we'll kind of like, do a little looting on the way out.
It's just some light looting.
So Adoron will
Just
briefly
remember, first you pillage, then you burn.
Adoron will turn to Otokar and say, "Friend Bear, are you getting a good experience in your travel tours with us?"
It's much different than wandering around by the Waystone. Yeah. So those I I don't want to influence your decisions at all, but those I can see why those hamsters are cannibals. They smell delicious.
Mm.
Oh,
Well, first off, you get equal decision as any one of us here. You are a peer.
Hmm.
You get to influence decisions as much as any of us get to influence decisions.
That's agreed. If you have thoughts or opinions, please share them.
I would harvest them, or maybe just take one or two at a time and keep coming back every couple of weeks. I imagine they're delicious and filling, even if they are somewhat. I mean, I've eaten people before,
Fair enough.
and sometimes I've been around for a while, and a bear's got to do what a bear's got to do.
It's interesting when you think about it from your perspective, in that really a lot of humanoid species, for lack of a better term, we do tend to, like, you think about wild animals, and they do tend to, they survive on where they can. They have to kill other animals, eat meat off the animals, and so many people tend to be very, very picky about what they eat. And they'd be like, ew, meat, no, it has to be sauteed and spices added and served with vegetables. And
They are. It is better that way.
it's interesting to get a different perspective on it.
And
All
be fair,
valid
when I'm
perspectives.
in human form, I do not prefer to eat raw meat or fresh meat.
do you find that strange?
I find it the way it is. I try not to think about it too much.
There.
Well, if nothing else, could these serve
Order.
as well, yeah, rations for you? And we each have to have supplies we eat every week, and maybe these could be your weekly supplies.
I'm happy foraging, but this will be a delightful treat.
That's obviously your choice.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't think the dead ones that were left over in those other rooms will be particularly nice, but
No,
I'll never
we
turn
were
down a
to.
fresh hamster.
Shall
You should,
we? Oh, go on.
I was gonna say, you should put out a book of Otokar's wisdom. Never turn down a fresh hamster.
Shall we continue exploring this complex?
Yeah. So the only place you haven't gone on this floor is the other door in the zombie pit.
Okay, so I guess that means we have to go through the zombie pit.
And
And these zombies were not chained up. They were
they
just
were
like
not chained,
wandering
but they
around.
were they were glued to their screens. They're watching What was the description?
Reruns of Vidi Crystals.
Yes, romantic comedy,
Um,
disconcerting violin music.
and remind me, are these zombies like, uh, are they people, humans
A
with?
variety of humans, yeah, different stripes. I think by like if we're cutting back to like looking down at in the cement pit of them there, I think there are various stripes of humans, various vintages of humans, um, and a combination of like maybe great one farmers that wandered off, maybe other adventurers that came down here to loot stuff, other travelers who stumbled down here and got the bad end of it.
Here's my question. I'm just thinking of how to possibly deal with, get by these zombies, etc. What now? They obviously they don't seem to attack each other, correct? As
They
far
do.
as we saw. So can they somehow differentiate their kind from not their kind? Like, for example, would they know that we are not zombies? Is it because they detect that we have what they don't? The Haka or Ba, whichever it is. I know
They,
they're
they
missing
only
one.
have
They
their
have,
missing personality, the ba.
yeah, the
So,
missing bar.
like, would they be able to identify that we have Ba and that's how we're not one of them? Or if we were to just kind of, could we just shuffle past them?
I was going to
If
say if we could try to sneak past them, not draw attention to ourselves, such that
Mhm.
their attention does seem to be drawn to the
Mhm.
to their Vidi Crystal displays.
And I don't suppose you have any kind of magic that could like conceal Ba?
That's not really something I know how to do. I think I've heard of such a spell, but I don't know how to perform it.
I have had a disturbing thought. I wonder if my ba came from a zombie such as this.
Hmm.
That is a disturbing question.
I would not necessarily call it disturbing in that whatever happened previously that led to Adoron being Adoron is done. And the important thing is that Adoron exists and is Adoron. So while it might be interesting or a mystery, it is what it is, and there's no reason to be disturbed by
Hmm, I will take your comments under consideration,
it.
but I will reiterate that as a lab-born creature, I do have questions about how it's put together.
Fair. I mean, I think any of us would if we did not know our origins.
On the other hand, I have found that my understanding of my past is much simpler than the understanding of those who go through stages of maturation, because it seems as if those who go through stages of maturation often end up more confused the further they go.
Well, and if you find this thought disturbing, then it also makes me ask, is it perhaps a blessing that you don't know your origins?
I shall ponder that because that is a very uncomfortable question, personally. Also, is it possible that things are continuing to be made? Because is it possible that these fine zombies, which we can speculate might have been actually complete beings with their own ka, ba, their own ba, um, they are now missing their ba, and that does not necessarily mean that the ba just disappeared.
No, no, that doesn't happen naturally. We know that the whatever is happening in the lowest level of this facility is still operational, at least to a certain extent. I were I to I am not really a betting man, but were I to put money on that, I would guess there is something still down there that could be dangerous to one's psyche. We should be cautious. At the same time, there are probably things that are very valuable.
And I will point out that if there's a complete biomantic factory down there, it could be the start of a fabulous bean empire.
Always important.
Yes.
I mean, we've got the
Or,
beginnings of a wonderful bean empire already planted.
but it raises a question of whether or not it would produce sentient beings. And what does
Hmm.
that mean?
Human beings.
Ah!
I was waiting for someone to say that.
Well, at that point, they would certainly become no longer a food source. And but that is an issue to ponder far down the road if something such as that comes to pass.
I would agree. So, to get past these bar zombies, I suggest let's at first try to simply sneak past them.
I agree. However, we probably should have a backup plan in place. What do we do if that does not work? If they
Um,
turn their attention to us, start trying to attack us.
so out of character. So bar zombies, they don't have a personality, so they don't have like, memories of growing up, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah.
So
They just have a body and a battery, a soul battery,
got it.
basically.
They
Okay.
will not be
Okay.
swayed by my pleasantness.
Yeah, yeah. So I think so my purple memory spell is not going to work on them.
And they do not have a soul personality dyad.
They do, however, like food and they appreciate cake. And they don't seem to be particularly, at least the other set, who were less well fed, did not seem to be particularly aggressive about taking the cake.
No, I'm just again just a backup plan. I'm thinking forward, like so we do this, we try to shuffle in, ignore them, they ignore us. If they don't, what do we do?
And how
We're
many
in
of
this
them were there?
situation now, and
How many of them were
Um,
there in this room?
there were a
like
couple dozen, and I think like standing at at the doorway at the top of the pit, um, kind of doing the like, okay, we're gonna sneak down here, we're gonna go through there. I think you notice that there are one or two missing.
Hmm.
So Adoron's backup plan is going to be offering them cake. So Adoron is going to dig deep into their pockets and find all the cakes they have, probably run out of cakes, and just have them at the ready.
And I think Phaedred's plan is to basically blast our way out of here.
throw some beans and always have the radiation gun handy.
Beans and guns.
Beans and guns. It's the two sides of Modon. Luckily, he mostly uses beans. He's only used guns once, I think. Once or twice.
A couple times.
Yeah.
Guns and Beans. That sounds like a bluegrass Guns N' Roses cover band.
I was gonna say I thought that was gonna be Mark's next game that he releases at a
Guns
con.
and beans. You have two stats.
Guns and beans.
You got two sets.
Guns and beans.
Lasers and feelings act.
That's right. The Modon Fig approach to dealing with the reality. Guns and beans.
Guns and beans.
All right, you gonna gun him or you gonna bean him?
Great. So you're going to attempt to sneak past the zombies.
So I guess
That is the plan.
okay. My next question: do we go as a group, or is it prudent for do we try one at a time?
Or we go as a group, but we don't all take the same route.
Let Adoron go first, and then for a couple reasons. One, Adoron has cake, and secondly, if they do get aggressive, Adoron can extend their body up so you can pull Adoron out of the pit.
Mhm.
How far is it though?
It's about 20 feet deep, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
It's like the deep end of a swim, like a big swimming pool, kind of.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that's a little bit of a pardon the pun stretch, but I could probably do it.
You still have
Got
your
it.
rope ladder, right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say we still got a
I think
rope
it's at
ladder.
the
We could.
caravan right now,
I
I
see
Oh,
it in
believe.
your items,
yeah.
but if you, yeah,
Oh, is it in your?
Is it in my items? No, it's not in my items
see it
because I put it in the
under
caravan.
items.
Oh, under items, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it
Oh, I
is.
guess I did.
I
Hold
guess we
on.
are taking it.
Let me make sure I didn't put it in caravan as well.
Two rope ladders.
Well, there were two
Yeah,
actually.
There were two.
It took up two spots because it
yeah,
was.
it takes up two
It's one rope
spots.
ladder, but it's big. It's big. It takes up 2 slots.
Okay, so maybe I had the foresight of, I think maybe I remember now that we
I
thought we
mean,
might need that in a dungeon.
yeah, and
I
like
shall keep it
you
on
saw the
me.
pit before and
Right.
went back out and came back in, so it makes sense that you would bring a rope ladder if you.
My one other thought is that I would think the hardest element of this plan is going to be Otokar, just because he's the most different and most like big giant bear as opposed to shuffly human person. But
I
what
mean,
we do with that information, I don't know. Just a thought
But
I
they
had.
don't they don't have boss to make decisions with. So they're going to be operating on a very
It's gonna be
primal
all
level.
instinct. All
Yeah.
instinct.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just
So I guess
see what
I
happens
gu-
with Adoron then
so I
and be
guess
prepared to help.
so I guess the question is it going to be which is their stronger instinct to, attack living creatures that comes near there, or to like look at the glowing rectangle?
Yeah. And we might try if we can try Adoron first, and then if Adoron is successful, like maybe do Otokar second, because Otokar is probably the hardest one to pass.
True. Yeah.
Okay, works for me.
Okay.
Phaedra can have some tragic missiles ready. I can have a gun
I do indeed.
ready.
Yeah.
We have all
And,
our.
and
uh,
Adoron is going to
read the description of tragic missile closely.
Oh, good point. I don't know it. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
spell.
yeah. That's not gonna work on.
It's not just a missile.
oh yeah, so it's a
Oh, it's a mind thing.
yeah.
Mind
Anything with a
thing.
mind. So tragic missile is not gonna work on these guys.
That's all right.
Okay.
But Adoron is
We'll
going
figure
to
something
do
out.
well.
Well, I have been lugging a Steplin bolter
You got a
around with
gun.
me, so I've got a gun too.
But do you have beans?
There's regular missile,
Yeah.
Lead missile.
lead missile.
Lead.
Great. Adoron's gonna take the rope ladder down, I guess.
Sure.
Gingerly stepping around the zombies who are in fact glued to their screens, just kind of like standing there swaying and watching.
Is this a commentary on our modern society and our
I,
phones?
I didn't write it,
Yes.
just there.
Exactly.
I don't see any text, so any subtext is your own.
Right.
Um,
PD zombies.
yeah. But yeah, they are not going to give you any mind as you walk by them. In fact, they don't even care about your cakes. They are
How dare they?
well fed. They got a lot of meat on those bones.
That's suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's keeping them as pets.
Somebody is feeding them.
But there is a door on the north wall that is it looks like another um, slidey steel door. There's no glass panel on there, but it does seem to be easily openable with just like you can slide it open manually.
Adoron will, yeah, open it and see if the zombies react.
Nope. Nope. They're extremely docile.
Okay, well, I guess that means I guess that means the rest of us will head down
Yeah.
and basically take the same path Adoron did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otokar next, and then I guess me and Phaedra.
Yeah, and they're all super chill.
All right.
Um,
buddies.
Cool.
New friends.
Not disturbing in the slightest.
It's my first zombie friend.
I hope nobody turns off the TV.
I wonder if I could actually have a zombie friend.
Hmm.
I have room for friends.
Actually, you could. It would take we'd have to figure out a way to.
Take the TV with you.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you had a TV, you could have a bunch of them.
Just trailing along behind us.
Yep.
Strap a TV on my back.
Right. Modon Fig and
Got a
his
t
zombie friend.
we mount a TV on the back of like one of those giant coconut crabs,
Yep.
and then just a
Trail of
bunch of
zombies
zombies will just
following.
follow it.
Yep.
Uh,
Great. There's a very small, like less of a hallway and more like a airlock almost. Kind of short, very short prep, very short. Like how like a freight elevator has like the front doors and the back doors. It's like kind of that
yeah.
shape and tenor of space, um, with another steel door on the other side. Um, when you open that door, it opens upon a lights are on, um, a room that looks more like an actual operating room. Um, the accoutrements around are clearly used to be biomantic in nature, at least, but there are a couple of um, call them operating tables. Um, One has a zombie lying motionless on the other one on it. The other one has a zombie that is being butchered by a couple of the hamsters on it.
Oh,
Also, just sitting there, allowing it to happen. One of them has like a big bone saw. One of them has, one of those big like carving knives, and they have their little weird three-fingered hands, and they are just carving them up and like putting the organs and body parts and stuff in various little, like used to be medical steel bowls probably. And when you come in, they like look like they've been caught, which they have. Um, what would you like to do? You have a moment. You've surprised them for sure.
Do we want to my like Phaedred's instinct is to attack them.
and is there another door out of this room?
There is another door on the other side of the room. Yep.
I mean, I hate to be a one-trick pony, but I feel like another Otokar roar might be in order. Just to see if it works again. Worked well the
Well,
first time.
I mean, so my inclination is to just yell lunch to Otokar.
Mm, lunch, right?
He is a fan of fresh turple hamster.
They
The,
do
the, the
smell
other,
delicious.
yeah, the other thought though is
There is two of them that do have knives.
Yep.
that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
they'll probably attack. They'll probably attack us if we are threatening, even though we outnumber them 2 to 1.
So, we surprised them, and I'm probably in the front. Um, hmm, I am going to shift form and go under one of the operating tables, like the one that they have
The butchered one or the
zombie that's
non-butchered one?
butchering, the one that's being butchered. I will turn into a little multi-legged flat thing that's like crawls under the table and we'll just end it. So I'm trying to get to the door ultimately because
Mhm.
I want to catch them.
Cool, cool. What do Modon and Phaedred do?
I'm puzzled in it. Like the act of butchering, like that's,
They're not delicate about it, but they are
but
definitely.
still, it does feel like that requires some level of sentience. That's not just
Yep.
like an animal eating a
Yeah,
corpse it found. It's like that's
Yeah. They
a
are
level of
intelligent.
intelligence. Yeah.
They do indeed have a level of intelligence. I think that's been established since one kind of sort of could talk.
Yeah. Yeah, they're uplifted hamsters. They're just uplifted to the level of backyard barbecue.
Um, I don't
Hmm.
think Phaedred would necessarily want to, since there's only 2 of them. I don't think he'd want to like unleash magic here. So I think once we see that, I think Phaedred's going to like level his rifle and take a shot at one of them.
great. Love it. Yeah, so that is an agility roll on you.
Yeah, I am not a great shot. Let's see what happens. I got a 9.
A 9 will not do it, but it does make a loud noise for sure,
Bang!
and startles them. Um, let me, yeah, I think they're, yeah. What's Modan doing while that happens?
Well, I mean, I was gonna level my gun at him and wait and see what happened, which might be a bad idea, but I never like to be the first to attack unless I know that they're actually going to attack. Or maybe if they see a gun, would they like stop? I don't know. I'm pointing the gun at him.
All right.
Basically what it boils down to.
um, they look shocked. Let me make a reaction roll here for them, actually. Yeah, I was gonna get that.
Does the loud bang scare them off?
It does. They drop their tools with a clang and run to the far side of the room. Just as that door is opening. Moden, did you want to try and catch them?
You mean Adoron?
Or Adoron?
Yes, Adoron is going to basically reshape and block the door entrance.
Great.
I mean, they might try to go through me, but I'll at least catch them off guard.
Let me get agility plus Flesh's Clay.
Okay.
That's
A door of snakes.
13 or so.
Okay. Hold on a sec. 13, huh?
Yeah.
So my flesh is clay is 9 and my agility is 1. So all I have to roll is a 3.
Yeah. Easy.
Yep.
Roll higher than I just rolled.
Oh
Oh no!
That's a 1.
Okay. No hero dice.
Hero dice on
What
there. I
happened?
want to see what happens.
Who is Cat?
That's me.
That's
I'm the
That's
cat.
you.
GM.
I'm the cat. That's what they call it.
this is hilarious.
That's what they call the GM in this game.
Oh, really? Didn't
Yeah.
know that.
That's why all my bookmarks are little cats.
Oh, nice.
Aw, that's adorable.
Do you want to stick with your 1? Uh-oh. Does it come back? When does it come back? Hey, there we are.
Hey,
Internet bounced.
Mhm.
Last thing I heard was that my bookmarks were adorable.
Yes. So I rolled a 1. What happens?
Do you want to keep that 1 or do you want to use a hero die?
Oh no, I like the idea of ones being sacred. So
Yeah.
let's don't know what happens.
Cool. So you're trying to grab them, right?
Oh no, actually I was trying to form a barrier. I was just like
Get in the
trying
way.
to
Yeah.
yeah, sort of like a doggy gate or something like that, just
Mhm.
because I don't necessarily have to go all the way up to block them.
Yeah. So they try to claw through you, I think. And that's gonna do a little bit of damage. That's gonna do 7 damage. As
Okay.
they just like
ow.
launch and start like tearing at you.
Yeah, ouch.
And I think the other thing that happens is you feel something like the door has opened behind you, and you feel something pressing on you or scratching at you from behind as well.
Oh,
Probably more rats in that bar room that were alerted by the gunshot.
oh, exciting.
What would y'all like to do?
Describe to me exactly like this radiation gun I have. Exactly how does it work? Like, what am I shooting?
Yeah, it's like it's like a gun shaped thing, and when it shoots, it just like emits a blast of radiation.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to think like
is it a beam? Is it a I mean, is it a beam? Is it a cone? Is it a
Feels like
ray?
Feels like it's adjustable, right?
Okay.
I'm just wondering, like, so is it possible to
Like-
like hit rats and not hit Adoron? Or is it like with their
Probably.
such close proximity? I don't know if it was like a spray where you couldn't really like
I think that depends on
not.
your role.
I was going to say, if this was the comic book or the TV show, what's the special effect look like?
Right. Just like
Or is it
the
like
wavy
early Star
line.
Trek where it depends on or where it depends on who's animating it that
Right.
particular episode.
Goes in the neon green.
I'm just let me see. Always trying to think of more interesting options, but the zombies also they are like so they're conscious or living as much as the zombies are, right?
Yes,
These aren't just
they're
like
conscious
bodies
for
where
sure. Yep.
Yeah.
and they're not
Okay.
tied down or anything, right? They're just like on the tables. Is that-
Hmm.
Yeah, they're very passive
Yeah.
because they
Yeah,
don't have.
and they're not like undead in that they're not like rotting shambling
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
no,
they're
corpses.
just like bodies without
yeah,
personality.
yeah, yeah.
Republic.
So interesting. Hmm. Um, mm,
Yeah, I know what I'm going to do when it's my turn.
no, go ahead if you got something to do. I'm
Go for it.
not.
Oh, so like the door opened and more of them are coming in
Yeah,
Well,
they're
I can't.
behind where Adoron is blocking.
behind where Adoron is, and I can
Yeah.
see them.
Yep.
So yeah,
Or you can't see the ones behind Adoron because he's
I can't
blocking.
see the ones behind
Yeah.
Adoron.
We
Okay.
basically have an Adoron door right now. Adoron is the door, and there's
Oh, okay.
rats behind
Got
him
it.
scratching at him, and rats on
Yeah,
this side scratching at
Desperately
him.
trying to open the door.
yeah, those sort of half height doors. So you can see above, but you can't see where the rats are down below.
Yeah.
I think since they are like starting to scratch up Adoron, yeah, I'm not great with this. I'm not great with this gun. I'm gonna like shoulder the gun again, and I think it's time to roll out tragic missile.
Yeah, you can do that for sure.
I'm gonna overcharge it for 3 missiles.
Cool.
I can only see
And
two of them.
that will hit the ones behind, like as long as you know where they are, you can definitely
Okay.
target them from behind there.
Okay, well then I will yeah, I'll hit the two on this
In fact,
side
I think
and the one on
the way the
other.
spell is written, I think you can target them anywhere. Like within 30, 50 meters.
Nice.
Anything with a mind.
Anything with a mind.
Yeah, great. I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm gonna overcharge. So that's mind me, that's double the power rating to overcharge or
Yeah,
okay. So it's
so
gonna
that's
cost me
4.
4 life. It's gonna cost me 4 life to cast that spell. And yeah, I'm gonna hit 3 of them.
Cool. Roll your damage.
So this is going to be 2d4 plus their level, plus 1 point each per level,
Yes, they
and
are.
level, point of charisma, point of aura, point of thought.
Cool. They're level 4, so they got you're doing a +4 on them basically.
Okay. Okay, so the first missile does 7 base plus 4 is 11.
Mm-hmm.
The second shot also does 7 plus 4 is 11. And the third shot does 2 plus 4 is 6.
Great. The two on your side of Adoron are completely brain melted, in gruesome manner. Little goo coming out their eye holes and ear holes. They just fall instantly where they are. You definitely the end of my pen just popped off. You definitely sense that you have greatly scrambled the brain of one of the ones behind there. It is still, I don't think it's interested in attacking you anymore, but it's still up. And I think, but reaching out with that, you can tell that there are several more itching to get through the door at you.
Okay.
But the two with the bone saw and the butcher knife are out of commission.
Got it. Okay.
Modan.
I mean, I can't really do anything until I, I yeah, I can't really think of anything to do at the moment because I'm certainly not going to blast through
I'm gonna
Adoron.
say Adoron's blocking the door.
Yeah. I mean, Adoron can drop first, I think, if you want to do that. You're muted.
Teal, you're muted.
Yeah. So after Adoron has felt themselves being torn into tatters, they just sort of drop their whole mass to the ground and
Mhm.
slink away in disgrace.
Great.
All right, well then
You
now
can see like pushing through the door. There's probably, I mean, you can see at least 3 or 4 of them in the doorway, and there's probably more behind them. They're about to come streaming into this room. Blast away.
I was
let's
gonna say that's a
yeah,
choke point.
That is a choke point
exactly.
for you.
Let's see what an radiation gun can do with that.
You got fighter, right?
I do have fighter.
Right. So
It's
agility plus fighter. So you're rolling at a +4.
skilled. Yeah, so plus
You're looking for a
4.
14.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, how about a 19?
That will definitely do. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Which I wrote it down. What was it?
3d8 plus something.
3d8.
3d8.
Oh, I didn't write it down. I need to write that down. Hold on.
Well, I think isn't it 3d8 plus, it's just 3d, it might just be
I think
3d8.
it's
I think it's just 3d8.
Okay.
which is a good amount already.
It
I
is
need
a
to write
good
that.
amount in this game, yes.
12.
12. You know what? That fries all the ones that were in the door for sure. And I think you hear squeaking and bubbling behind the ones that didn't make it through yet. I'm not even going to roll morale for the other ones. They see people just disintegrate, like Mars Attacks style, and you hear the scratching of claws on concrete as they beat feet back into the room that they came in from. It is a mess.
Yeah, Adoron reforms and turns to Otokar and says, "Those two are still edible."
Yeah, I think those are good. You microwave the other ones pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't think you want to eat those.
I grabs one in each paw and like looks at you and
We nod.
starts tearing away at him.
Okay, is this gun actually in the book somewhere, or is this?
It is in the book, but it's only described as something that you get from someone else with damage.
Right. It's
It's part of a random encounter somewhere.
yeah.
I'll just take a note. You said so. It's all I need to know is it's 3d8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just put that in.
I'm sure it's got like, range and whatnot, but
Let's see.
a bunch of it's probably got stats, but
Yeah, I just didn't know where to find it if there was any. I did a search for radiation, but then
There's a few things in there. Radiation. Ghosts.
nah, I didn't find anything handy.
Do you remember where you got it from?
Well, I mean, it was Adoron. It was Adoron's
Right.
first, right?
So it was the first adventure, and we were on the road going from the Porcelain Palace over to the Sarai. So somewhere in between there. And I think it was very close to, it might have been very close. Well, no.
Yeah, you were on the trail, right?
Yeah.
Between Porcelain Citadel and Sarai. Let's see. That's Sarai.
There's the frog-like creature.
Frog. Oh yeah, frog-like creature. Had the little idol. That's right.
Yep.
Search for frog. Hey, fuel. There we go. Frog skis.
I mean, it was a random encounter, so I don't know where it was pulling from.
Can't find it. Oh, Toad. I bet it's Toad. Ah, Toad.
Eh.
A sad cultist L4 Batrachian looks lumpy and misshapen, seeks sculpting flesh to become like his idol, a toad-shaped lump of dryland golden core. Oh, you know what? I bet I did. I bet I just did roll that randomly. Maybe.
Oh,
Or no, maybe that was not him. I don't know. I can find it. It was just described by its
no, that is him though. That is the correct thing.
that's the
It's
correct
just
guy.
yeah,
Was it a
it's some sort of forbidden tech.
forbidden book?
Oh no, now all the hamsters know I have forbidden tech.
You'll be socially ostracized.
They're gonna go tell.
Radiation
It was like ancient forbidden.
gun. Oh, there we go. Prohibited radiation gun from long ago, 3D8. That's the entire
Yeah.
description.
Oh, I see. Okay, so no, just want to make sure there was nothing else I needed to take note of that might come into play.
Nope. It's just a list of 100 strange items.
Oh, right.
Number 81 on page 197, if you're looking at. Cool. They
Oh,
have retreated into that room, or back into the room they came from, and beyond. They have definitely scampered out. Would you like to press on?
Well, first,
Just
Adoron is going to pull up the zombie that was just lying on the
Mhm.
table and walk it back to the door and put it back in the pit so it can go find its TV screen.
It
Um,
placidly goes with you and is like, okay, cool, yeah, back to back to my shows.
uh, what should we do with this one?
I mean, I could clean it up for you if you like. It might take me a little while, but
I am okay with that.
I would also be okay with that.
I mean, I'm not going to eat both of these and that right now. Definitely save them for later. Sorry, man.
Uh, Adoron will.
It doesn't seem to be in any pain or distress. It's just its eyes are open though, which is a little bit distressing.
Right. So it's not really in showing pain.
No.
Interesting. Um,
While that's going on, I'm just gonna like look over the rest of the room to see if there's anything of interest or value.
Not really. This room seems like more filthy and more messed up than the rest of the place for sure.
Okay, got it.
there is a bone saw.
There is a bone saw and a big butcher knife if you want to grab those.
Actually, Adoron will grab the bone saw. That's sort of interesting.
Yeah. Those do 1d4 probably
Yeah, I would. I'm not really
if you want to use it
anticipating.
on someone.
Yeah, no, I'm just I was yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it.
Yeah, but really not any other like treasure here.
Okay,
Just the door that is ajar, leading down a looks into a hallway.
yeah, let's I guess we'll go that way.
Hmm. Um, Lights are on, but it is filthy. And it leads not too far, 20 feet or so, probably, into another round cement chamber. Um, this one does not have a pit. There is a stairway down on the far side of it. There are three very frightened hamsters, and they're cowering behind what you would probably describe as some sort of centipede. It is coiled up and takes up the middle of the room. It's probably a good it would be difficult to put your arms around it, I think. And it has a human face on it.
Oh, that's not disturbing in the slightest.
And it kind of like it's like curled up in the center, like almost like like a cobra. It's got its like little claws, and it turns to you, whoever came in first, and says, like wags its little antennas and just says, "Don't worry, you won't feel any pain after this," and starts slithering towards you. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up.
Awesome. That's a good
Um,
cliffhanger.
yeah, Phaedred, you definitely know this is a magic magic guy.
Doesn't sound like he's open to negotiation. I
Who
was about to try to open with my pleasant, get a reaction roll, but I was like, oh, no. Sounds
knows?
like he knows
Well,
what he's doing.
Great. Well, we'll start off there next time. Let's jump into
sounds good.
stars and wishes. We'll go left to right, I guess, which means who is going first? Mike.
Sure. Stars are all around. Another fantastic episode of this. Our second dungeon crawl
Mhm.
in this setting. Um, Stars all around. I think we had some really interesting, like, discussions, philosophical debate. How do we want to approach this? I think they were all really cool. Big star to Teal for the opening of like, doing a little bit of retcon, like, well, when my chess control thing was open, how can, like, giving me a little paint the scene question to say, like, how can you tell that whoever removed your memory crystals did it in haste and without a lot of care? That was cool. Um, Also want to give a big star for Teal and Mark for that conversation between Adoron and the Rebuilder. That was really interesting. A little on the chilling side because
Mhm.
you're basically talking to a being of nearly godlike power, although one that is under some pretty significant like magical constraints. But still, you were talking to a being of power, and I just thought that was a really cool scene. Just the way you played that was very, very cool. Um, and yeah, and like, like, and yeah, and Heath, as usual, just a whole lot of fun. Just like, kicking around with Modan. He's kind of the, I don't know. Almost feeling like you're the, if Adoron is sort of like the Adoron's sort of like the voice of, he's sort of like the voice of reason. You're kind of like the calming central presence of our party, which I think is kind of cool. I don't think any of us are particularly hot-headed. I think of all of us, I think Phaedred's the most hot-headed, and even Phaedred's not terribly hot-headed. Although it did just like open fire on hamster guys that were butchering a person, even if it was a person without a personality.
Probably the best choice there.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, like, but yeah, stars all around. This is super fun. As for wishes, I don't know. I'm curious to see what's in the. I'm curious what to see in the secret like research lab level because I'm sure it'll be I'm sure it'll be all like hearts. I'm sure it'll be all hearts and flowers. Nothing bad down there at all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you. Heath.
Yeah, it was tons of fun as always. And yeah, the big the yeah, the I second everything Mike just said. The Teal Rebuilder thing was cool. It was just cool because it was like it was a fun turn. And that, it's always fun when because I kind of got the impression, I felt like, oh, the rebuild thing is just always gonna be just this big. We're never gonna be able to like get through to it or a conversation, whatever. It's just always gonna be this big, overwhelming presence. It's gonna blow your mind or whatever. So it was neat that you got a good enough roll that like, oh shit, he just had a conversation with it,
That,
and
that,
we
that was just
learned.
that was a 17 tick clock that was filling up over the last however many sessions.
So that was cool, and then just discovering more about this place and just all the ideas we have, and again, a good problem to have. There's just never any shortage of interesting things to possibly pursue. It can be almost overwhelming. It's like, oh, which one of these 100 cool things we've talked about do we want to pursue, and finding out what's more going on, in this lab, and only wishes I can think of are still, I mean, is I'm always trying to find something more interesting to do than blast them with a gun.
Mhm.
But sometimes, like, literally, I was like, I got nothing. I don't really see anything else to do but blast them with a gun. I don't really see a more interesting alternative. And also just like looking at my character is just not. Sometimes they're, and I mean, that's fine. Sometimes that's why there's guns in here. Sometimes you're going to use them and you need them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff to do, but in the moment, that was probably a very
I say with like, it's interesting because I know we all lean towards, battle as a last resort, but I feel like it's funny. I feel like while Phaedred's probably the hottest headed of us, he's still not a hothead, but he's probably actually the most sensible because like I feel like both Modan and Adoron are peaceful to their detriment, like almost like they're not going to resort to violence until literally something is trying to kill me. Okay, they are actually attacking you now, trying to kill. Oh, well, I guess I'll shoot him now. It's like Phaedred has that nice, a little bit of medium ground. We're like, pretty sure this is a hostile situation we're not going to get out of. I'm going to go ahead and start shooting before they start shooting at me or flying at me or whatever.
Yep.
And so it's a nice kind of balance. And then I'm always like, I'm not going to do anything until they actually do something, which could be bad depending on how that plays out. But no, just, I love that this game keeps my brain whirling with possibilities of like, oh, things we could do, things to investigate, things to talk about, things to it's fertile ground. I think that's it for
That it
me.
is. That it is.
Any wishes?
No, other than just, again, always trying to find interesting things. And that's probably, again, me being harsher on myself of being like, I can't think of anything cool to do. But I don't think so. No.
Cool. And Teal.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd like to say is I really appreciate that Phaedron and Modon are willing to put themselves at risk to help Adoron. Because the rebuilder is not a joke. Like, we help each other out in different situations. This one's like way dangerous. So I
The
actually
builder may
really,
be the most dangerous thing in this book.
oh really? Oh wow. I guess I started small. So I really appreciated that. And another thing that popped into my head, and it's not really something that Adoron would say, but I wish to rename Modan to Modan the Philosopher. You know, Bean Magnet and Philosopher. Um, and I think, and this is directed at you, Heath. I think part of the problem that you're running into is you've got two very strong ways of interacting with the world around you, possibly three, but one is friendliness and the other is blast.
Strong blast.
Strong blast, yes. Irish Spring for a strong man. And the problem with that is, well, friendliness is pretty common. It's like we manage to be friendly to a lot of things. So that gives you more range. But the blaster is just like you can only use it in a narrow range of situations. And so, like one of the things that both Mike and I have is we have adaptable power bases. I mean, Adoron, besides being just very innocent, Adoron is also literally a shape changer, and Phaedred is not only a wizard but now has the glove,
Very
and
cool.
so it gives us these. We sort of have more black box kind of powers
Mm.
in a way, where we are constantly discovering new things. And so I don't know how, but if there's some way that Modin can get something where it's less simple to decide what to do with it and more about putting your mind to creative purpose, then because I get into the same problem that you do, where like I have no idea what to do, so I'm like, oh, I'll become a snake, or oh,
Yeah.
I'll become a door, and shape changing is it's an unfair advantage in the sense that it's very flexible, but still there's that whole like how do you take your power base and your beings are sort of becoming this in a weird sort of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
metaphysical way. Beings are becoming kind of a um oh they've sort of like almost uh translated into a more of a philosophy of interaction
Mm.
rather than just a commodity, maybe. Um, but yeah, I think at the moment, Mike and I have the advantage that we have skills that are more open to interpretation. Not necessarily skills because we all have skills, but like
No,
our
you're right. You're totally
power
right.
bases. So,
And that
uh,
is, one thing I've talked about is like in the future that might change because it's part of developing my beings. Maybe I develop some
right,
crazy
yeah,
beings that do some cool shit or whatever.
yeah.
Wizard.
If we get into biomantic stuff, you might get to the point where you use beans to solve problems in unusual ways,
Yeah.
besides just giving them for food.
Yeah.
Um, I am very glad about the continuing on, very glad about the way the Rebuilder came back into my life because Rebuilder's been sort of quiet lately, and I was like at first I was like, oh, Mark's just focusing on other stuff, and then I was like, hmm, well that was really good. I like that a lot. And of course you set me up. You're like, you could use your Rebuilder skill, and I was like, okay,
Nah.
sure. No, I was like, A, that's useful, and B, okay, sure. But that was a lot of fun, and I'm curious to see how this relationship will unfold because, like, at this point, Adoron is starting to have second thoughts about the Rebuilder because it's not clear what the Rebuilder's motivations are, although it is clear that the Rebuilder is unhappy. And so now Adoron's like, okay, there's a deity who's really unhappy, and I would like to help them be less unhappy, but I don't know what they will do when they're not unhappy. And there are these two other possibly dangerous, well, okay, obviously dangerous things, which have stolen some of the Rebuilder's power, and they don't sound particularly friendly either. So it's like, huh, okay. But that's going to be very interesting to see because basically Adoron was just responding to the Rebuilder's pain and like, oh, okay, I can help. But that's gonna now it's got a little more complicated. And as far as wishes go, I so far everything is awesome. Um, and I don't. I have a wish for myself, which is that I can like get a clear articulation for what the signature item, how it affects
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
Just so, how do you feel about my tea ceremony slash Noastric node
Yeah, that was
idea?
really interesting. I really like that a lot.
Okay. I will try and figure it. And maybe I don't need to have anything other than that. Maybe I just am like, so the item is sort of the cup from the old tech that heats up the tea, but it's also sort of the crystal teacups that I can make, and like it's sort of a mixed thing, if that's okay with you. And
Yeah.
then and we just say that the attribute or the trait that it has, because I'm going to give it experience, and I think we had 250 experience last time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 150 this time, just because we're like focused on
Right.
fighting some exploration. But yeah, so yeah, 150.
Okay. So I think my signature item now has because I didn't spend the 250 from last week.
Mhm.
So my signature item will get up to the 300 level at least.
Level one,
And yep, level 1 teacup. That's me or my item. So
cool. Yeah, sweet. Had a good time here. Finally getting the rebuilder fully on the table was fun. Like it's been a lot of self-control to not just like as soon as I read that in the book, I was like, man, I hope they do that. And y'all did. Wow. That's a fun that's gonna be a fun quest, a couple of quests, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Running a dungeon in this system is really interesting because um, it's not your standard kind of deal, and not like making up some stuff on the fly. Has been interesting, and using some of the tricks I've learned from a couple of projects. Doing that has been neat. Um, Really, star for uncovering the entire map with a 30. I did like a little sketch, like a little uh, obsidian canvas diagram of it before we started, just to like, okay, like here's like how like where the levels and stuff are. I'm like, oh, I could just draw this now. Now you know the entire thing. Like you could just have the whole map. So maybe I'll do that over the next couple of weeks. Um, yeah, excited to see how we deal with our psychic centipede friend.
oh yeah.
Um, and keep going from there. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. Um, and I think we're gonna have a new person, so we might find a new person in the dungeon.
Oh,
That would be
interesting.
cool.
Yeah,
They could be a not yet converted zombie.
yep. Or they could step into Otokar if they want to. Yeah,
Oh, that's
we'll
interesting.
see what they're into.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be very interesting. Yeah.
Although the only downside with that is Otokar has a very particular personality,
Yeah,
which I really appreciate, and that's the down like it would be great to have Otokar as somebody's friend, but the problem is Otokar's got so much
mm.
dolor that I'm just like, oh, this is great. He's so sort of down and also thoughtful and willing to eat people and
Well, that's part of the reason why, even though I had thought about taking him on as an
yeah.
actual friend, but I'm
Mm.
Yep.
like, but that feels weird at this point because it feels like, with Mark Plant, it already feels like he was like a person.
Oh yeah.
Then it feels
Yeah.
weird to be like, I'm going to take over that person. It's my person now.
Right.
That's my person.
Yeah. I want to say too, as dungeons go, this reminds me a lot of playing Gamma World.
Yeah, yeah. I'm coincidentally reading Gamma World right now.
Yeah. I mean, we did that just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
But I,
it's very like Grasslands is a very post-apocalyptic setting.
yeah,
Oh,
Post
yeah,
several apocalypses.
I was going to say
right.
it's a post-apocalypse,
Yeah.
and I was actually talking about UVG on some Discord or other earlier today, and I was like, yeah, it's somewhere between Jack Vance's The Dying Earth and like the old 80s cartoon
Thundar.
Thundar the
Yep.
Barbarian
Exactly.
with with a little bit of like 70s
Heavy
70s
metal kind of.
heavy metal magazine like The Art of Mobius.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Yep, 100%.
I mean, I would not, I mean, bumping into bumping into Tarna the last Terrakian in this setting
Right.
would be completely appropriate.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm
Well,
just trying to figure out how my experience got to be such a weird number. It's 3996 after today. I'm like, what did I do to get a
Oh.
weird ass odd number of
I mean, that sounds
experience?
like a typo at some point,
I
but
think there was one that ended with a six at some point. I don't
oh,
remember
was there?
because
Okay.
because discoveries give specific amounts in the book, and one's
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
81 or 103 or something. So
maybe
like,
that was it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why, how did I get this weird ass number of experience?
Yeah. And I would also like to say that, like, I was looking through the new version of the book, and Luca's art is just so
ridiculous.
mind inspiring. I look at it and I go, this is weirder than I think it is already. And what does that mean? Because I was looking at, it is possible at some point that I will try and add a, what is that? I don't know. That's trying to think of what kind of character it was a golem,
Mm.
either as a friend or when I was contemplating um leaving Otokar back at the Sarai, I contemplated uh taking over the little golem that attacked Phaedred
Oh, the
and
pony
making
Oh,
that
that
into a
one. Yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah.
And I think that that would be a very interesting character, although my difficulty at the moment is I feel like that character now wants to kill Adoron.
cow.
Phaedred stopped it from its mission. I don't know. It sort of depends on what the golem can do, but Phaedred stopped it from its mission, and Adoron's basically turned it into a little tiny barista.
Yep.
And I suspect that it doesn't like Adoron very much.
Who knows?
So I was like, I could have one character that's trying to hunt the other character. How would that work? Anyway,
Cool. I think this session I figured out who Adoron used to be, and I'm gonna think about it some.
oh,
Um,
interesting.
you gave me some interesting things like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, great.
Hey,
Um, cool. Anything else before we shut it down?
No, I think it will be interesting to have the so we've touched a little bit on the politics.
Hmm.
We've touched a little bit on the politics of the ancients,
Hmm.
and I'm curious to see like well, and also I really think it's cool that we're starting to develop networks of skills between the characters where we're working on things. And Mike, I was thinking that if Phaedred would like to do so, Adoron would like to teach Phaedred about um, or assist Phaedred in learning uh, some more techno wizardry
Mm.
because Adoron can tell you a lot about not only their own model but in a basic way like the working um, body Adoron can read those things and guide you in understanding how that. I mean, Adoron's not a technician, but Adoron can read the data and say, here, here, here. And of course, now you've got the gloves, so that probably could do it anyway. But if you're interested in learning more about artificial forms, Adoron could potentially help you understand from the inside out.
Mm.
Um, the other thing is, I'm going to propose, and we can think about this, but I'm going to propose that for Adoron's third point of um, tea herbalism, that Adoron is going to try and create um, uh, their first self-created tea mixture.
Interesting.
And what I want to do is I want to figure out a way, and I haven't figured it out yet, but to use the what were they? The stinging nettles, the crystal stinging nettles, because I still have a few crystal stinging nettles.
Mhm.
I want to figure out some sort of tea concoction and some reason for using the stinging nettles. And that will be like my I don't know who to present it to necessarily, but that will be my admission into the guild of tea herbalists.
Your thesis defense for tea. Yep.
Exactly. Yes.
The
Right.
thesis, the
Thesis.
Thesis. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Awesome. Cool. If there's nothing else, we'll say goodbye and see y'all next time. Bye.